Hi guys, it's Jackie with Intoxicating Arts, and today I'm making a Lawn Fawn thank you card. I'm going to start off with this 140-pound watercolor cardstock, and I will eventually put this on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base. The paper scraps I'm using for the border are Lawn Fawn Let's Bokeh in the Snow, and there's also some foam dots that I'll be using, as well as a mixing surface and a paintbrush. The main inks that I'm using today are actually Luster Mica Spray Mist, and this one is called Hawaiian Shores. It's a nice creamy color. And also Shallow Water is a nice light blue, along with Deep Sea Dive, which is a darker blue. The Lawn Fawn stamps that I'm using are from 3 different sets, which are Fantastic Friends, Life is Good, and Chit Chat. I'm going to start off stamping using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is a nice water resistant ink for when you're going to be using a lot of water on your card. And this is a little like sand bank from the Life is Good stamp set. I'm also using some birds from the Life is Good stamp set. And I'll be using the crab from that same stamp set, just stamping everything in the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And after I have everything stamped down here, I stamped that little fish, and I'm going to be using Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, and the fish is going to be yellow and orange. So I just wet it down, and then I started with the orange on the outside edges. Add a little more water, and then I'm going back in with the yellow, so the orange will accentuate the fin there, and it kind of bled a little. I should have actually dried that off. And then carmine red and brown for the crab, and I'm going around the outside of the crab with the brown, and this kind of, you can't really see the brown in the end on the crab because I go over it with that red, and the red is very vibrant. And then I'm also going to color with the brown on that sandbank right there and blend it out to the bottom using water. That kind of doesn't matter in the end because I'm going to paint on some Hawaiian Shores mica spray mist. So I'm just painting on the spray mist here to give it some nice shimmer, and it's a nice color for a shoreline. I'm going to dry that off and then go back over it with the same mica spray mist, but this time I'm doing these lines like this to try to give it a little bit of texture. And you can see it's getting some nice texture there, just drying it off, and you can see all that beautiful shimmer. Just love mica powders because of their shimmer. Now I'm masking off this area just using a paper towel because I didn't feel like cutting out the little crab to cover him, which I probably should have. You'll see why later, but I'm spraying with the Deep Sea Dive, and I'm going to link to all of the products below. This is Shallow Water, it's just adding that in, but I'm moving my mask here. And you'll see there's some white space left by the crab, but I go back in with some of the, I believe, Deep Sea Dive and just kind of color in there, and it ends up looking like a wave crashing behind him, so it ended up being pretty cool. I did get a little bit of bleeding on him because that sounded bad, but some of the color bled because of the water. And this is from the Chit Chat set. I'm just having the little fish say thanks and popping him up on a foam dot after I cut him out. And I'm using a Faber-Castell Pitt pen just to add a little bit of movement behind him. I'm gonna flick in 3 lines just showing that he's kind of just popping out of the water real quick to say thanks. These are the scraps that I started off with in the beginning of this video, and they're cut down to make up the rest of the space on this card base. So they're about a 1/4 inch wide, and then I put them on and I just cut off the little extras here. But then I'm left with the inside pieces, which I will have to measure and try to get those as correct as possible, because if they're too long, they're going to hang over. If they're too short, then you're going to have some white showing through. So I did pretty good measuring those out so that they would fit in there pretty well. But I actually, where I went wrong on this one was I didn't put enough adhesive on it, so I had a piece popping up which I had to go in with some liquid glue, and then that kind of seeped out, so that led to me putting sequins on. And I'm just using some glossy accents and some sequins here, and every time I see people use sequins on cards, I think it looks so cool. And this is actually my first time trying to put sequins on, and to me, I just feel like I can't figure out the placement, and it always just looks so natural in everybody else's videos. But I don't know, to me it just looks kind of weird. Maybe it's the colors I used or the fact that I put silver in there or something, but they kind of look off to me. But it's just gonna be something I'm gonna have to keep trying, and I wanted them to be on two separate corners. So for the inside, I'm using the You're Fantastic sentiment from Fantastic Friends, and going over that with some pigment ink in cyan. It's the Color Box pigment ink. So the outside of it just says thanks, and then when she opens it up, it'll say You're Fantastic, and I'm just sending this to my grandma as a thank you for some birthday money. So I think she'll enjoy receiving it, and it was a lot of fun to make, and it was nice to use some scraps to give the illusion of a background instead of just wasting them. So thank you so much for watching the entire video. I will have links to everything below, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye guys.